Hello, everybody. Once again, I want to thank you for participating in this workshop. Since my first day working in the class media lab, I have always wanted to play a part in helping some students get a better understanding of media production. And thanks to you, I have this great opportunity. So let's go ahead and let's get started. This video is made to give you all the instructions you need in order to complete the task you'll be completing in the lab on the day of the workshop, which is to create an Instagram formatted image with text effects in Adobe Photoshop. We'll be using Macintosh computers in the media lab in order to complete this. While I'm sure most of you are more familiar with a PC, most professional media design companies prefer to use a Mac. Therefore, the very first thing we need to discuss is the difference between a PC and a Mac. The first major difference you'll notice between a Mac and a PC is the keyboard, particularly the bottom left hand of the keyboard. Where you would normally see a Control, a Windows button, and an Alt key, you will instead see a Control, an Option, and a Command key. You'll need to pay particular attention to the Control key when you're using a Mac. This is because Macs were originally built to use only one button input on the mouse. Some forms of Mac software are capable of understanding a right button click, but in order to open a drop-down menu, which you would normally do with the right mouse button on a PC, you instead have to hold down Control and then click on the mouse to open the same menu. On a PC, you usually press the button combinations Control X, Control C, and Control V in order to cut, copy, or paste text and images. Since the Control button on a Mac is actually used for the menu, you instead need to use the Command button for these commands. The letters you press will be the exact same though. Press Command and X to cut, Command and C to copy, and Command and V to paste. Now, let's have a look at the interface. Just like with PCs, the Mac has a desktop screen instead of a Windows button. However, there's this icon at the very left of the toolbar. This is called Finder. When you click on Finder, you open a menu that shows you all of your recent documents, downloads, and programs. It's a neat little index of everything that is on your computer's hard drive. Now, click on this area of the menu labeled Applications to see a list of all the programs installed on the computer. Then all you need to do is click on the Photoshop folder, double-click on the Photoshop icon, and then allow the program to open. One last optional thing you might want to know is how to take a screenshot on a Mac. On a PC, all you usually need to do is press the print screen button to copy everything that's on your screen as an image that you can then paste to Photoshop. On a Mac, you need to press a combination of buttons. To create a screenshot on a Mac, you must press the keys Shift, Command, and a number 3. You notice that the screenshotted image will appear immediately on your desktop as a small thumbnail that you can drag and drop into Photoshop, and we'll discuss that a little bit more later. You can also press Shift, Command, and the number 4 to turn your mouse into a crosshair. Then you can click and drag over a small section of your desktop and screen capture just the area that you highlighted. This is a very handy trick and very important to know if you plan to make graphics on your computer. Now, let's get to work on completing your image. You'll start by placing your thumb drive or portable hard drive in one of the empty USB ports on the back of your monitor. On the Mac desktop, you will see the icon for your hard drive appear. Click on that icon to open your thumb drive and display the files on it. Now drag and drop the image you chose onto the desktop to put it onto the Mac's hard drive. Now, in Photoshop, we want to create a new file. The new file icon is at the very top left of the welcome page, but you can also find it by left-clicking on the drop-down menu and selecting File. A menu will pop up that says New Document. This is where you create a frame around your image and also choose your image's resolution. Since we're making an Instagram page, we want the width and the height of the image to be 1080 by 1080 pixels squared, and the resolution to be 300 pixels per inch. Type those numbers into the fields and then click Create. Now we have a palette that's just the right size for Instagram that we can use to create our image. Drag your image from your desktop into the white area of the palette, then press Enter. Now you'll see that this image might not quite perfectly fit into the palette. We can fix this by going into the Edit drop-down menu and selecting Free Transform. This will create a blue highlight over the image. We can now resize the image by clicking and dragging the corner boxes. This will scale the image outward. But if you also need to stretch the image in order to fit the palette, you must hold down the Shift key and then click and drag the corner boxes to fit the image into the palette. Once the image looks the way that you want it, press Enter to remove the transform frame. Now we are going to add text. On the left toolbar screen, you'll see a capital T symbol. Click the text entry icon and the words lorem ipsum will appear on your screen. This is text that you can edit pretty similarly to Word or other word processing programs. The bar at the top of the screen will be used to select your style of font, the size of your font, and the color of your font. You can choose any text you want to add to your images, but it's best to choose something that's bold and very easy to read. Write whatever text you want. If you would like a different line of text, click your text icon on a different area of the palette. And if you would like to move or resize any of these texts, go back to Edit and use Free Transform in order to adjust the size and the shape of the text. Now we're going to be adding two effects to these text boxes, stroke and drop shadow, which will add a different color outline and a shadow effect to our text boxes. At the bottom right of the Photoshop screen, there's a menu labeled Layers and different kinds of bars for the text that you just added. Press Control-click on the bar you just labeled in order to open a drop-down menu and then choose Blending Options. A sub-menu will pop up with a lot of options and checkboxes. Click on the bar that is labeled Stroke. This will automatically put an outline around the text inside the layer that you selected. You can then use the options in the menu to change the width and the color of the outline. Then go further down the menu and select Drop Shadow. This creates an artificial shadow in the shape of your layers to add depth to your text. You may change the color of the shadow and then use this angle tool in order to adjust the angle of the shadow. Once you have everything in the image to your liking, then we can move on to saving the image. We're going to save this image in two formats, .psd, which is a Photoshop file, and .png, which is an internet-ready file. Go to the File drop-down menu and select Save As. Give your image a file name. Select your thumb and hard drive from the menu and click Save. Keeping a .psd file will allow you to go back into Photoshop to edit this image later if you need to. Now, to save this image as an internet file, go to File and select Save a Copy. Go down to the pull-down menu that says Save as Type and choose .png from the menu. This will tell the computer to save it as a .png rather than a Photoshop file. Name the file, choose your hard drive from the drop-down menu, and then click Save. Now that everything is saved, you may drag the thumb drive's icon from the desktop into the trash. You notice while you're dragging that the trash will transform into an eject button. This will stop your thumb drive or hard drive from running so you can safely remove it from the computer. And that is how you create an Instagram image in Photoshop. Later on, you can upload this image to social media, and you don't have to worry about your social media squashing or stretching the image to fit into the shape that it would prefer. We've also covered a significant amount of the basic things that we can create inside of Photoshop. There's still a lot more that you can do in Photoshop, including creating your own full illustrations. But many of the tools in Photoshop will work the same way as the tools we used here. Feel free to explore more of the program on your own, or come into the Media Lab during regular hours for more information on anything that you may want to know. Thank you, everybody, for your time and attention. I hope that you are now interested in learning more about Adobe Creative Products, and you'll be interested in visiting the Media Lab more often in the future. Goodbye, everybody.